ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोक शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। Hari Om. We are trying to understand the Shankara Bhashya on Brahma Sutra in the Adhikarana called Aditya Adhikarana or the Antaradhikarana. When we are trying to study Brahma Sutra, the main purpose of Brahma Sutra is to know the ultimate reality, not by personal experience in the beginning, but by using the faculty of buddhi to delineate the structure and approximate the position in terms of the destination as the ultimate reality. At the end of Brahma Sutra Grantha, none of us perhaps may get an experience of what it is like to be Brahma or Brahmi Bhutata, but a map, a cartographic structure definitely gives an idea of the path that one should follow in order to reach the destination whose nature can be ascertained indirectly, parokshata, so that we are sure that this is the aim of life. At the same time, it is worth approaching, and we know precisely how to approach it. Brahma Sutra Bhashya study is the building block for strengthening the sadhana so that we can surely reach the destination. We all know that the entire creation is nothing else but Chaitanya. Mai adhyakshena suyate characharam. We have studied by hearted in Bhagavad Gita. Everything here is Sutre Manigana Eva. I am the substratum, Arjuna, of everything that exists. We have heard about it. If that is the case, then the sun is also Chaitanya, the mountain is Chaitanya, the animal is Chaitanya, the tree is Chaitanya, I am also Chaitanya. The question fundamental is, if all are Chaitanya, if all are Brahma Rupa, why is it that I or any other Upadhi does not understand or experience itself as a Brahma? In fact, we all experience ourselves as Upadhi. Upadhi, the matter vesture put on the Chaitanya. The dampening and dimming enclosure put on the light leads us to believe that we are a limited light. The light is unlimited, but it has been made delimited or limited by virtue of the covering that we have. So the impediment is the covering or the vesture on the light. Such a vesture is commonly referred to as Upadhi. So when we are having this discourse, somebody called so and so is speaking and somebody called so and so is listening, is so ingrained in us. It is because the so-called who is speaking is a matter vesture on the Brahma or Chaitanya, who is trying to talk and explain as if he is different than the listener. The listener is trying to listen because he is of the opinion that I am a listener because of the matter vestures that he has, and he feels he is listening to the one who is speaking, who seems to have another type of matter vesture. Perhaps he is able to emanate little more light or jnanam. So it indicates and it concludes one thing, that everything in this world is nothing but matter vesture or upadhi encasing a source of light called Chaitanya. So all the objects in the world, smallest, microscopic to the biggest or the largest that one can think of, is nothing else but the upadhi, the delimiting adjunct or upadhi or the covering or the matter vesture on the Chaitanya. Is the Chaitanya limited in everyone? Absolutely not. Everyone has the light in the amplest that one can think of. Thicker the vestures, thicker the matter vesture, lesser the light emitted. Lesser the light emitted, lower is the yoni. A tree is not able to emanate as much Chaitanya light as perhaps an animal. So we see an hierarchy of different thicknesses of upadhis, starting from the lowest yoni, where the matter vesture is so thick that the light almost does not emanate. We call them inert substances, achara. A stone does have same quantum of Chaitanya that you and me have. However, the Spurti Tattva, the expressive ability of that Chaitanya, is not as pronounced as you and me. Why is it that I am not able to interact with a stone? Because if I talk to the stone doesn't talk to me. Talking or vacha is an higher manifestation of expression of consciousness. Amongst the talks, many people talk, but when Shankaracharya talks, that talk is different than the talk that we normally talk. Why there is a difference in the level of the shabdas that are coming from the mouth of a saintly person than a normal person? Because the ability to emanate the light, ability to express the light of Chaitanya is very, very refined in them, owing to what? Owing to the thinning of matter vesture, owing to the reduction in the quantum of upadhi. And those where the upadhi is not existing at all, what will you call such a thing? Such a thing cannot be called a thing, because such a thing would be only light, only Chaitanya, only consciousness. So what is the sum total of the universe? Sum total of universe is nothing else but it is same quantum of light that is distributed and captivated and enclosed or enmeshed by different matter vestures. And the desire of a particular upadhi, a desire of a light that is enclosed in particular matter vesture, leads to formation of another matter vesture or upadhi, depending upon the vasana or the desire, ichha of that particular person. I intend to destroy somebody, so that desire of mine creates a suitable matter vesture, because now I would be requiring a tamogunic matter vesture, not rajogunic or sattvagunik. With a little or a very less sattva guna, a moderate amount of rajoguna, an abundance of tamoguna will be the new matter vesture that will come to me. If this vasana of destruction is so strong that I want to destroy everything that comes my way, or I consider that as my enemy, I shall be born in an animal yoni where I become a ferocious animal. A ferocious animal is nothing but the one who is expressing or fulfilling his desire or a vasana through certain acts called karma, depending upon the suitable vesture that he has been given, suitable body that he has been given, and the consciousness then expresses in that manner. The fuel does not ask the vehicle where you are going, it just energizes the vehicle. The vehicle can go and meet with an accident, or it can smoothly take you on a particular ride. That is entirely in the hands of the driver. The Chaitanya is in the form of fuel or the lightning aspect. The lightning aspect always remains the same. It is the fundamental usage of the lightning aspect or lighting aspect done by the matter veshas or the upadhi suitably according to the vesture that is endowed or that is given as a body to that particular upadhi. So much of understanding is not very difficult for all of us. But now when we extrapolate it further, a real difficulty is going to come. If I am an upadhi as a human being, what is sun? For me, it is a star who is giving light, but that is for astrophysics or astronomy. From the metaphysical or adhyatmic point of view, a sun is nothing else but an upadhi, a sharira, which is able to emanate ample amount of light based on the consciousness that it is holding. The ability of the sun or the body of the sun, the upadhi of the sun, lets it express the consciousness in sun in the form of light. If sun is an upadhi that is expressing light, prakash, it also has a dahakata into it, so it is expressing agni tattva also. A huge quantum of water flowing through a majestic and absolutely gigantic river is expressing jala tattva because of its upadhi as river. So consciousness here is expressed in the form of jala tattva by an upadhi called river. Coming to this, we have then two aspects of expression of consciousness. The consciousness gets expressed, pronounced in a particular tattva, as well as the quantum of expression can be small or huge. A firefly also shows light because of the fluorescent substance that she has in her body. In the night, we see the firefly. She also emanates Agni Tattva through the Upadhi, but it's a small firefly. Sun is the huge firefly. Sun expresses the consciousness in the form of Agni Tattva in the widest, huge thing. Huge in relative to whom? In relative to the human beings and the earth. From the earth standpoint, from the human being standpoint, sun is a huge star expressing Agni Tattva and Prakasha. So one upadhi called human being is trying to appreciate another upadhi called Surya. And what is the reason why I'm able to appreciate that upadhi is because I have got eyes to see the sun. So I'm able to use my indriya called eyes to see the sun and come to a conclusion that sun is a larger upadhi of Agni Tattva. So my own consciousness through the matter vesture or upadhi called human body, my brain, my organs are able to decipher expression of consciousness of some other body called Surya. However, my own ability to appreciate another upadhi gets limited when my indriyas have limited approach. By Anumana Pramana, I know of a star which is 400 times brighter than the sun lying somewhere in the galaxy, which I have not seen because my eyes cannot see it. So that upadhi of the brightest star, brighter than the sun, is in existence. However, I am able to decipher about it through the radio waves. So through Anumana Pramana, I have come to a conclusion that there are many stars here, bigger and bigger and bigger than the sun. $30 trillion light years, which is referred to as 1 parsec unit in astrophysics. That 30 trillion light years, imagining light traveling at the speed of light, that speed of light, whatever distance it will cover in 1 year, is 1 light year. Such 30 trillion light years is called 1 parsec, and there are trillion parsecs away the galaxy stars are there. What it means, what are they doing there? They are also upadhis expressing through them larger quantum of consciousness. And how do you become a large upadhi? By composite formation. Bhuta Sangha. Pratah Smarami, our morning prayer says, Aham nacha Bhuta Sangha. Consciousness is not Bhuta Sangha, but Bhuta Sangha is one which covers the consciousness. How big can be Bhuta Sangha? Depending upon what quantum of bhutas have come together to form the huge upadhi. So, a smallest upadhi, red blood cell in our body is what? Is an upadhi. There is consciousness in that red blood cell also. But that red blood cell and billions of them have become a part of me, which is a larger upadhi. So that means the smaller upadhis can come together to form larger upadhi, because under the pretext of the larger upadhi, smaller upadhis are working inside, and the whole continuous harmonious functioning of such upadhi combinations forms a huge animal or a huge structure or a huge upadhi. A galaxy is also an upadhi, but in itself it contains lots and lots and lots of stars and black holes and Milky Ways and whatnot. Stretch your imagination and we will realize that the whole creation is nothing but amalgamation of billions and trillions and uncountable upadhis. Why uncountable? Because as far as the creation and the world that I am able to think of or manage of, at the end, I am also limited by my upadhi, my antakarana, buddhi, which has a capacity to understand all this, is limited. I can increase its limitation by usage of external help. The huge telescopes that are stationed in the space help me to understand further down deep there in the galaxy, in the space, whatever is there. However, the approximation that I can make about the galaxy and its width is 90 billion light years, of which only 19.5 billion years is what so far I am able to see. Because the light that emanated from a distant place 19.5 billion years ago is yet to reach to me. So the knowledge that something existed 19.5 billion years before is yet to reach to me. That is the vastness of the space, vastness of the created things. And we are talking of only objects. We are not talking about the vastness of the space in which these objects are suspended. And before we could breathe about the vast extent of this creation, we are bombarded with a basic and fundamental fact that this is one universe that we are talking about. There are multiple universes. The quantum physics is taking head on these concepts, which Advaita has conclusively proved, not as a theory. Then the question comes, if these upadhis are there, then each upadhi, to the extent of their ability, understands the world from their standpoint. From the child's standpoint, the world is different than the adult standpoint. Why? Vikasita buddhi, meaning what? The upadhi gets developed, and being developed, there is less obstruction to the light or the consciousness that one has. So the consciousness, the width, the slit through which the light is coming slightly enlarges from childhood to adulthood. Amongst the adults, one person called Einstein comes. His slit is little more wider. He's able to see the world in a little different way and write a theorem about it. Write a theory called theory of relativity about it. One Max Planck comes and talks about the theory of quantas, quantum physics. All human beings look at the ray of the light and say that, oh, the ray of the light is coming. But one person like Max Planck comes and says that, no, 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 the light doesn't come in the form of a ray. It comes in the form of a packet called photon, which is a quanta. What happened? The ability to understand increase it itself, means the upadhi gets diluted to that extent, and the further consciousness light is more widened. If that is the case, then the way I understand the world is different than the way the child understands the world. Then what would be the understanding of the sun? Appears and sounds a bit ridiculous or perplexing question. If I understand the creation the way I understand as human being, there must be some kind of apprehension or perception or interpretation of the world by an ant about the world and by a human being about the world. What is huge and vast for an ant? Perhaps a big pebble of stone is huge for an ant. For a human being, the pebble is a small piece of stone. That means the understanding of the universe or the world is proportionate to one's ability to understand the world, which in turn depends upon the quantum of matter vectors or thickness of matter vector or obstructions created by the matter vectors to the antakarana. Because at the end, it is the antakarana which has ability to completely throw the light which is residing inside on the things outside and understand, and then understanding or apprehension or comprehension takes place. I shall be able to apprehend, I shall be able to perceive or cognize to the extent of ability of my antakarana to reflect the consciousness on that particular objects. Higher the reflection, higher is the understanding. Wider the reflection, wider is the understanding. If a human being's understanding is larger and wider than the ant, it is simply because of the difference in the ability of the antakarana to use the light. The light is same in same quantum always, whether in ant or in stone or in us. कबीरा कुआं एक है, पानी भरे अनेक, भांडे में ही भेद है, पानी सब में एक. It is the pot and the ability of the pot to carry the water that differs. Water remains the same. Larger the pot, larger the quantum of water. So far, so good. If this is well understood, then we come to a basic and a fundamental question. What happens if I am able to change my upadhi from my own upadhi to some other upadhi? First of all, can I change it? Can I become an ant? Sounds a ridiculous question, but a very, 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 very intriguing questions in philosophy. Tukaram Maharaj says, a very simple statement. Jave त्याच्या वंशा तेव्हा कळे. When you go to somebody's vansha, then only you will understand. Apparently a very simple statement, but a profound, significant statement. When you become somebody, then you realize what that somebody is. If I become ant, I shall have the perception of the world as an ant. If ant becomes human being, the ant will have the perception of the world as human being. Why? The matter vesture or the upadhi changed. The reflection of consciousness changed. The mirror changed. The reflection changed. Larger the mirror, polished the mirror, larger is the reflection of the consciousness. If that is so, then for a lower upadhi, through some method, is it possible to become larger upadhi? And this ability to use one's own antakarana to increase its capacity in order to become larger and bigger upadhi is classically endowed with a particular species which has finest upadhi antakarana, and that particular species is human being. Amongst the created things that you see around here, the one who is endowed with the capacity and capability of developing the antakarana or the upadhi so that it can hold a larger and larger light of consciousness is human being, and the art and act of doing that is called sadhana. And then comes the question that the one or those rare Mahatma who are able to do such transformation in upadhi through their utter concentration, which happens only when his antakarana is no more scattered or it is not having any vikshepa. That vikshepa is reduced because of vivek and vairagya. So the one who has already marched on vivek and vairagya and has become sadhana chatushta sampanna, he is now free to undertake a journey of transformation of upadhi from human being to the higher upadhis in this world. And how do you go to the higher upadhis? By considering that you are the higher upadhi. I consider myself as sun, and I shall become the sun. How do I become the sun? Is by transcending the narrow limits of human being and expanding them through my antakarana. My antakarana becomes as wide as that of sun. I shall become the sun, because between the sun and me, the only difference is of ability to reflect the consciousness, nothing else. So my body remains the same. I remain in the human body, but my antakarana is Surya Maya antakarana. And the Aryans and the Vedic Rishis knew this secret. Bhagavad Gita also calls this as Rajaguhya, the royal secret. The royal secret is this. The royal secret is there is only one consciousness. It is the ability of the upadhi or inability of the upadhi that restricts this light, and based on the amount of light that you are able to hold in your antakarana, your upward movement will be proportionate to that. Higher the reflection of consciousness, higher is the upadhi, wider is the expression of consciousness, wider is the upadhi. And when such a Rishi who has sadhan chatushta yogi sits in the concentration and presumes that he is Surya, and some blessed, powerful souls like Tapovan Maharaj goes a step beyond and thinks that he is Bhagavan Vishnu, which is called as Aham Graha Upasana. When you think you are somebody and tries to become that somebody, some upadhi, aham graha. You do grahyata of that particular thing in you. You do adhyaropana of that devata in you. The entire Nyasa Shastra is based on this. Get the deity from there, the Vayu Tattva, and implant it on here on my shoulder. The Vayu Tattva is going to reside. It's not mere saying by the word, but by utter contemplation. If that is the case, then the one who is doing propitiation of the Surya starts getting the same width and expression of consciousness as Surya. And in that, I have two choices. One is either I take the Surya as my Ishta Devata and do my contemplation of it, or I consider that the same Surya is residing in my eye, Akshi Devata. The Ruchas of the Samhitas in the Veda, they might sound ridiculous as some kind of prayers for the Westerners, not for the Easterners, not for the Arya. For the Arya, this is a part of Veda, and Veda means it has to be the ultimate knowledge. Hey Pushan Devata, hey Surya Devata, when we do Avahanam, we are requesting the deity to come and reside in my Antakarana. That is how I'm inviting, invoking. And when you do that, what happens? You transform your Antakarana, and between you and the Surya, there is no difference. And then what happens? The understanding of the creation and the world that was in me as a normal, ordinary human being now has become the understanding of the world as Surya Devata. It is definitely a much higher understanding of the world, though not ultimate. The sun within this periphery of its influence, which is Earth and whatever little solar plexus is there, of that entire solar plexus, the sun has the knowledge because he is the progenitor of the solar plexus. Though it is huge from a human standpoint, it is restricted only to the solar orb, as it is called. Surya Mandala, as it is called. So Surya Mandala Jnana will be available to such a person because he and sun are same. There is no more difference in them, which happened because of utter contemplation and meditation, which widened the scope of the Upadhi. However, in relation to the galaxy, this is limited. That means again the understanding of the universe of the sun in relation to the galaxy is limited. Of the galaxy is limited in terms of the hypergalaxies. Billions of such galaxies are in Lankia. From the standpoint of Lanakia, this is limited. So it is the flight of consciousness, one above the other, one above the other. Every time the understanding of the universe will be different. And that is why when in the Veda, it is mentioned that Surya Devata or Agni Devata, Aditya Devata is Brahma. So doubt comes to the mind that is it that Surya is referred or Aditya is referred or Chakshu Aditya is referred in Upanishada as this exalted consciousness, or it is referred to as Brahma? The very fact that a question is asked that whether the Upasana spoken about the Aditya and Antarchakshu, is it referring to Brahma or it is referring to exalted or higher consciousness, which we just explained? In Brahma Sutra, answers are given in the Ruchas, in the Sutras. To understand the answer, we must understand first the question. That is why to understand the question, so much of background was given. And the Purva Paksha says that this Upasana of Surya, which is referred here in Upanishada, is of this sun that we are seeing. So it is exalted consciousness. It is not referring to Brahma, while the Siddhanta Paksha or Shankaracharya says here that Surya is referred as Brahma only, although the word Surya is given. And what is the argument from Shankaracharya's side? The Rucha in the Upanishada says, Tasya yatha kapyasya pundarikam evam akshini tasya uditi nama sa esha sarvebhya. Like the adhobhaga of the vanar, like the buttock part of the monkey, which is red in color, such a Tejasvi Kamal are his eyes. This is the description coming in Upanishada. The question is this Hiranmaya Devata? Hiranmayo Devatatma? Kyunva Asau Parameshwaraha? Is this Brahma or Hiranmaya Devata? Hiranmaya Devata means Aditya Devata. The Purva Paksha says it is talking about Surya. Surya means it is a Rupa. Antar Chakshu means it is a Rupa. So anything that speaks of Rupa cannot be Brahma because Brahma is a Rupa. Then another thing, it is talking about Surya. Surya means it has a location. Antar Chakshu Aditya means it has a location. That which has a location cannot be Brahma because Brahma itself is the Adhar of others. So Brahma doesn't have location, it is everywhere. Anything that is restricted in one place, such as sun, cannot be Brahma. So this Upanishada is referring to nothing else but Aditya, Surya, and these are exalted devatas. That is their argument. However, the Uttar Paksha is talking in a different manner. Siddhanta Paksha says that Aditya which is referred is Brahma only. This Antaraditya or Antarchakshu Aditya is also Adityakshu Devata is also Brahma. Why so? The reason here given is that although it is referring to Surya, which in terms of Rupa and location appears to be Maryadita, it is not so because Tasya Rukacha Samacha Gaishno Tasmat Udgitaha Tasmat Eva Udgata Etasya Gata Sayesha Ye Ayushmat Parancho Loko Teshamcha Ishtadeva Kamanamcha Iti Adhidaivatam. What this particular description in Upanishad is talking is through an analogy. The way the Surya is there, which is such a huge thing enlightening all the earth and the other planets, there is something called a Surya of the Surya, and it is hinting of that. That is why this reference to Surya is Brahma. The reason is Tasya Nam Utaha Sa Esha Sarvebhyaha Papebhyaha Uditaha. This is given in Chandogya Upanishada. Upanishada says the Surya is called Ut. Ut means the one who goes upwards. Upwards because it is apahata papma. Sa esha sarvebhyaha papebhyaha uditaha. That means that is one who is purified of all the papas. And anything that is purified of all the papa is nothing else but the Brahma. That is why, since Surya has been described this way in Chandogya Upanishad, the reference that you see as Surya is not the ordinary Surya that we are talking about, but the whole talk is about Surya of the Surya. And then what is the reason why the Surya is described as a golden man with a golden nail, golden beard, etc.? It is described with Sagunata because that is how you can make it as a Upasya Devata. Because of your limited ability or your restricted ability to see everything in a Nama Rupa, you have to be given something for Upasana which is of Nama Rupa. A person can be given the food that he is able to digest, not the food that he cannot digest. We all know that proteins and vitamins make the food of ours. So why don't we take only protein tablet, carbohydrate tablet, fat tablet, and don't eat the food? Because our body is made in such a manner, including the gastrointestinal tract, that the food has to come in the form of vegetables, shakaha, in the form of wheat or the millets, trunadhanyam, because that is how our system is made. So we cannot go for refined food. Simply drinking refined sugar is creating so many diseases to us. Why? Because the body is not meant for consuming that kind of food. So one should be given the food that it can really assimilate and digest. Similarly, in the initial stage of sadhana, the upasak should be given upasya devata that he can do upasana of. The very fact that it is not possible for the beginner or even for the advanced person to directly jump to nirguna nirakara, saguna sakara is the only way for him to do the upasana. In order to do that, the same Surya, where the Brahma is hinted, is described as Hiranmaya Purusha. Siddhanta Paksha is talking about it. And then there is one more argument Siddhanta Paksha gives, and that argument is Bheda Vyapadeshat Anyaha, 21st Sutra. Bheda Vyapadeshat. Bheda means difference has been Vyapadeshat, told so. What difference is told? When they are referring to the Surya, they are referring to the Surya of Surya. What is sun of sun? That means the one which allows the sun to function as sun. That is being hinted. Yaha aditya tishtat adityat antaro. Inside the sun, adityat antaro yam adityo na veda yasya aditaha. Shariram ya adityam antaro yam yati eshat atma antaryami amrutaha. This is in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So because Purva Paksha is giving Upanishad's argument, Siddhanta Paksha is also, because you cannot just say that I don't agree, you don't agree. You have to every time take Shruti. There has to be a Shruti statement. That is why the Siddhanta Paksha is saying that which resides in the sun, which sun does not know. Yam adityo na vedaha. Yaha aditya tishtat adityat antaro. That which resides in the sun, but the sun does not know, whose body is sun, who regulates the sun by being the indwelling sun, that is your immortal inner soul. This has already been said in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So, Surya here is Parabrahma and not the exalted consciousness or Surya Devata. This is Bheda Vyapadeshacha. Now the question is, there's one more argument coming. And this argument is something which we all need to understand, because since childhood, we have always been reading about different saintly persons. And we all know that every one of them had a Bhagavanta darshan, Sakshatkar, Pratyaksha darshan of the Bhagavanta. For example, Samartha Ramadas, after doing arduous sadhana and purascharana at Trambakeshwara for a very long time, he had Bhagavan Shri Ram darshanam. Similarly, Bhagavan Dattatreya darshanam. So there were different darshanams that everyone had. Our own Swamiji used to have darshanam of Hanuman. So what is this darshanam then? From where the Hanuman is coming? From where the Bhagavan Sri Ram is coming? If Sri Ram is Parabrahma Swarupa, then it doesn't have any Rupa. But Bhagavan Sri Rama Darshan in proper attire, with Chaturbhujata, with the bow and the arrow, Sri Krishna Darshanam Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had, Vallabhacharya had, Ramanujacharya had Narayana Darshanam, Narayana in full-fledged aspect. Tirupati Devasthanam Sri Balaji, in that Rupam Darshanam happens to the saintly people. How that is possible? That is possible because for the sake of the sadhaka, by sheer fructification of the tremendous desire that they have, for which they really do the utmost sadhana through the meditation and concentration, it in turn invigorates the Pancha Mahabhuta, and the Sagana Brahma is compelled to take the shape of the desire of the sadhaka or the bhakta and come in front of the bhakta in the same form that the bhakta desired, because the desire here has been implemented to immense concentration. As a phala of the immense concentration or upasana, upasya devata, in the form that the sadhaka or the yogi has designed or desired, with the help of Maya, Saguna Brahma takes that shape and appears in front of him. That is why all these Parabrahma, which is described as Surya, Antar, Chakshu, etc., can also be a Rupam taken by the Saguna Brahma for the sake of the Bhakta or the Yogi, in order to bless him, Krupa, bless him for the further sadhana as the phalam of his upasana. Because Saguna Brahma, being the Brahma, has all the possibility, kartum, akartum, anyatha, kartum, shakti. And that is one of the reasons why the references made in Upanishada about such things such as Surya being Brahma, etc., is nothing else but the Brahma appearing as one for the sake of the Bhakta. This is one more explanation given. So in the art of Upasana, the sadhaka has used his ability to do Upasana to convert himself into Surya Devata by virtue of expanding his own ability to reflect the consciousness. So what happened? An ordinary human being, because of his efforts, has now become a sadhaka par excellence and has moved in the level of consciousness from human being to sun. The ant has become the human being. The human being now has become the sun. Is it the end of the exalted consciousness? If I become same as Surya, that means it is called Surya Devata Prasanna. In all Puranas, we say that there was somebody who was propitiating Surya Devata, and Surya Devata prasanna ho gayi. Kunti Mata had done this penance, and Surya Devata was prasanna and said, ask. Ask means what? Puranas are arthavadi, so they give it in a story form. But Puranas are considered in Dwadasha Prasthana Sthana. That means Puranas are included in the study of Adhyatma. The reason being, in this story of Kunti Mata and Surya, it is talking about Kunti Mata doing the sadhana, which is the Ahamgraha sadhana. She propitiated sun and considered the sun as a husband, whichever desire that you have, but she expanded her consciousness to become sun, and being sun, she was able to beget anything that she could think of. When she thought of having sun as part of her fetus or baby, such a baby was born. And being omnipotent at the level of sun, such a birth did not require any kind of copulation or any kind of intercourse. It is called immaculate conception. For a man and woman to come together is an ordinary event. For the one whose consciousness is exalted, it is not something very different, because the ability of somebody who is at exalted level like sun is different than the human ability. That is the reason why there are stories in Puranas and others, or in Natha Pantha stories, that they just said Tathastu and the baby was born to a barren woman. What happened to the science? The concept is the ability to utilize the consciousness to do something which is impossible for a human being or possible for an exalted being like sun. Further exalted than him, they have an ability to even better than the sun. It has actually happened that one of the Sufi saint, when he was aggrieved and tortured by some people, in the fit of fury, he was able to curse the land extending 15 kilometers in the periphery and gave a curse that nothing shall grow in this place for 300 years, and it did not. It is a documented fact. The place lies very close to Haridwar. From where the person got the ability to do this? It's because he was of exalted consciousness where he could execute that particular power, because that upadhi had the power in itself. So that is why antaradhikarana means what is inside of the chakshu. Antar chakshu aditya and the aditya both are referring to Brahma as far as Upanishadic utterances are concerned. That concludes antaradhikarana. Now, if I am going to do upasana of the Surya and become Surya by myself, what stops me from taking the next stop? And the next stop or the next destination of further wider consciousness, perhaps the widest consciousness, is Akasha. Billions of stars, unfathomable distances. And why talk about distance? Distance is when distance is produced, Kala gets produced. So the Kala and the distance, Disha, both are possible only when they are embedded or suspended in some huge container. A huge container in which all the universes are compressed or put inside is called Akash. So the one whose exalted consciousness reaches the level of Akasha shall be knowledgeable about everything that is there inside the Akasha. So one who does the upasana of Akasha Tattva, Akasha being Sarva Samaveshaka, he shall have the knowledge as much as the Akasha has. That is why many a times in Upanishads, Brahma is referred as Akasha. So places where Brahma, Akasha is referred as Brahma, there it is referring to Akasha as Panchamahabhuta Tattva, or Akasha is being referred to as Brahma, is the subject of next Adhikarana called Akasha Adhikarana. We have moved from Antaradhikarana to Akashadhikarana. Purpose is to interpret and give the correct usage and meaning of Upanishadic sutras, ruchas. We should not forget the fundamental purpose of Brahma Sutra is to explain correctly, appropriately the meaning of ruchas in Upanishads. And in Upanishad, sometimes the reference comes as Akasha, sometimes as Agni, sometimes as Prana. Are they referring to Panchamahabhuta or are they referring to Brahma? That is the question that is being solved one by taking one Panchamahabhuta. Antaradhikarana is over. Now the first Panchamahabhuta has come, Akashadhikarana. Is Akasha Brahma or is Akasha Panchamahabhuta as referred in Upanishad? Akash is Panchamahabhuta, we know that. But since the word Akashi is used in Upanishad, is it referring to Akash as Panchamahabhuta or Brahma? Because the meaning of the Rucha differs on that. Upasana will also differ because of it. To clarify that confusion, Akashadhikarana has been mentioned, which shall be the subject of our next session. Hari Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।
Hari Om. Sanjay ji, last week I was on a pilgrimage to Narayana Guru Maharaj's all places where he did all his tapa and where he made a temple of Lord Shiva and all. So there was a point in a mountain. It was very difficult to to scale the mountain, but we did it. In one of the mountains called Kodikuti Mala, where he was, as you said, he met Subramanya Swami, Lord Subramanya. So Swamiji had a disciple who used to take water and food to him to the spot, and one day he was this Bhairava Swami. Bhairava Swami is the disciple. One day Bhairava Swami saw Narayana Guru Maharaj speaking to a young boy about 15, 16 years old. He was talking to this boy, and this Bhairava Swami was carrying some food and water. When he saw him, he didn't disturb him. He waited for the Kumara to leave the place. This Kumara had only one place, the way he was standing. So he has to come through the same way. There is no other way because all around it is a mountain, It is valleys. You cannot go. There is no access. So after waiting some time, he couldn't see this Kumara returning. Then finally he went to Guru. Then the boy was not there. Then he asked him, who was the boy whom you are talking to? So Narayana Guru asked him, have you seen him? Yeah, I saw him. Then say, you will live long. You will live minimum 120 years. So it was Kumara. So how could it be possible to witness by a second person other than this is my question.
See, the question is, if you know that everything is nothing else but expression through the upadhi, then the one who has reached the Saguna Brahma or Chaitanya level or Ishvara Tattva, for him to create multiple upadhis is not a problem. Because Maya or Prakriti is the one who gives you upadhi. So Maya can be used, Maya being subservient to the Chaitanya Tattva, it can take any kind of upadhi through the help of Maya. Maya gives help to the Chaitanya if requested by doing what? By giving the Panchamahabhuta Tattvas. So she gives Panchamahabhuta and Triguna, and then based on the combination of Triguna and Panchamahabhuta Tattva, and Upadhi is formed. We call it as a human being, animal, plant, mountain, whatever. So such creation is not a difficult thing for the Chaitanya. In fact, the Chaitanya sometimes itself comes down with the help from Maya as avatar. What is avatar? Avatar is nothing else but the descending of the consciousness for the sake of welfare. And if while coming down, it has to become upadhi. Because if you're a part of the creation, you have to be an upadhi. But Chaitanya is upadhi rahita. So Chaitanya has to borrow the upadhi. To borrow the upadhi, it requests its own counterpart called Maya, that please give me some Pancha Mahabhuta and a little bit of Triguna so that I can become a human being and I'll go down. That is why they have to borrow the prarabdha also, because Chaitanya doesn't have prarabdha. So it takes a prarabdha. And then what happens? It takes a prarabdha in a manner so that it can give inspiration to all. And that is how then Bhagavan gets born in the jail as Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And then his own mama is trying to kill him as Kamsa. All this is nothing else but a self-written script, because the script writer is at the disposal of the Chaitanya. So there is nothing surprising in creating multiple personalities. In fact, yogi, even at his highest level, is able to recreate himself in 100 different bodies. That is how you have seen many Santa Mahatmas are seen at 2 or 3 places at the same time. It's not something difficult at all for them at that level. Hari Om.
Okay, thank you, thank you.